Welcome to Sovereign Mamas, the podcast sanctuary for visionary women who are building lives, businesses, and legacies in alignment with their feminine power. I'm your host, Julia Jerg, intuitive business coach, mama of two, and systems strategist for solo-led entrepreneurs. Here, we honor both your sacred role as a mama and your wild vision as a changemaker. Expect soul-aligned strategy, raw storytelling, behind the scenes, and powerful conversations that support you in scaling your business without sacrifice. If you're done choosing between success and sovereignty, you're home. Let's begin. Welcome to another episode of the Sovereign Mamas podcast. Today I'm here with Rachel Stewart. She's tuning in from Australia. This is one of those very close, it feels close conversations because Bali and Australia is really next door. So we're actually in the same morning vibe. And yes, I'm looking forward to talking to you, Rachel, because it's something really special that you're doing. And I'll let you introduce yourself, but we will talk about practically learning your business and also your motherhood. And you pick where you would like to start this off.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start with my journey into motherhood, maybe.
Okay. Yes, sounds good.
Yeah, well, my children are, sorry, I'll just start again. My children are young adults now, and I have one child who's still at school, just finishing this year. So I would have to say that being a mum has been the best thing I've ever done. And my children, I always say they're my greatest creations because I'm a very creative person. So when I created these beautiful little people, my whole life changed, of course, as it does when you become a mum. And I actually didn't realize how profound the love between a parent and child is until I had babies. And it shifted me into another space of really being a bit more connected with myself. Because as we know, children are like little mirrors and they reflect back to you some of the things that you perhaps don't see in yourself, and they bring out another side in yourself as well, both positive and sometimes negative.
Big time, yeah.
I wouldn't say negative, actually. I would say a term that I've come to know as your shadow side.
Oh, yes. Much better.
So, yes. So my eldest is 23 now, so it's been a while since I had my first child. And I have to say it has been such a journey to really understand how to be a parent and also how to be a better person. And I would say that my children have been the catalyst for me becoming a better person, for sure. So when I was at home with my first daughter, I just started my first business, which was a graphic design business. So from a young child, I've always been creative and I always wanted to do something in the creative field. And back then, I'm 52 now. So back when I was at school, we were told as females that we could only be a nurse or a teacher as a career, which is so archaic. And I was very determined to be a designer, and no one even knew what a graphic designer was. And I was like, I don't want to be a teacher or a nurse. I want to be a graphic designer. And I had people saying, oh, no, you can't earn a living doing art and drawings. And, that's just something you do for a hobby. And that just made me even more determined to do what I do. So I became a graphic designer and started my own business so I could actually raise my children from home. And I was working from home way back when it wasn't even a thing and people thought I was very strange. But it's obviously very common now. So that happened. And then once my children started school, I have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. And when my eldest started school, I started to shift into another phase of life. As you do when your children start school, it's a whole other journey. All of a sudden, you're a parent of a child at school, not a student at school. So then that shifted into my new business, Practically Learning, which is all about creating connections between home and school, because I felt there was a huge disconnect between what they were learning at school and how I was teaching them at home. And so that sort of started the ball rolling on a whole other journey of understanding my role as a parent and how to advocate for my child through school. And so I started my business Practically Learning to support parents, but also to help teachers and school leaders understand how to work with parents. And then fast forward a few years later, when I had teenagers, that was a whole other new experience for me, and a huge turning point around 15 years ago, where I realized that I needed to change and work on myself, because there was a lot of things that particularly my eldest daughter, was throwing at me that I didn't know how to deal with. And it was really casting a mirror on my own self-worth and self-doubts. And so I was responding to her in a way that wasn't healthy. And so I thought, okay, I don't think it's her. I think it's me. I think I need to change. So,
Mm.
so
Oh,
that's led me into a whole new personal development journey,
yeah.
and becoming a coach, a life coach as well. So that's
Okay, whoa. Yeah. In a nutshell, this is your life. You just plow through all the
my
stages.
very crazy, busy life. Yes.
All right. I want to touch on a few things here because, yes, I feel like you're a pioneer with when it comes to your early stages when you created home from work and did things that other people were not doing. What do you think makes this like, is this a unique streak of yours, or um, did especially especially motherhood, then get this out of you? Or well, for someone listening and saying, oh, yes, this sounds great. She must have had helped, or she must have like had an example or something. Speak a little bit into this.
I definitely didn't have help.
Oh, that's
I think I've always been a bit of a rebel,
mm,
and I like my freedom. I like freedom to create. As a child, I spent a lot of time alone, and most of that time I spent in nature and doing drawings, like creating.
yeah.
I liked to, um, I guess I was very in touch with myself from an early age. And in modern terms, I guess I was probably gifted in a lot of ways. So I was
Mhm.
very observant of people, and I was reading from the age of 4. Um, and I had a higher intelligence that I didn't realize until I was a lot older, and understood what it meant. Um, so I guess I've always felt a little bit disconnected from the norm anyway, and I am not afraid to take risks.
Mhm.
I actually probably thrive on it. Sounds really strange, but uh,
No, it's very familiar.
yeah, but I think my drive for working for myself was to have that creative freedom, but also so I
Mm.
could raise my children. I didn't want to put them in childcare. I wanted to be a good mum, and
Mm.
that doesn't mean you're a bad mum if you put your children in childcare, but I just wanted to be present and focused on my kids, but also to have my business. So I had that for myself, which I think is
Mm.
really important, to still have a career pathway or something that you do for yourself that allows you to grow as a person. So my influences, I guess, I think probably my father mostly, because
Mm.
he ran a couple of businesses himself. Um, and he was quite driven as an employee and as a business owner. So I suppose you learn a lot of things from your parents.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, I don't think I had really any major influences. But along the way, I have sought out influences. So yeah.
Yeah. I think the father figure, especially when it comes to career choices, might even be more influential. I don't know, like because when you tell your story, it sounds very similar to mine. I can relate to many of the points that you said, and I also So my father being an entrepreneur and for me it became really clear. And it's funny because my mother, she was always advocating for me becoming a teacher. And she framed it this way: Julia, you're so good at explaining things. I'm like, okay, I can do this in any other job. I'm not going to stand in front of children all day long. This is not what I'm here to do. And don't get me wrong, teachers are so necessary and do an amazing job, but I just never felt I wasn't in agreement with what she said. And I also, yes, do remember that my rebel side helped me really push forward with carving out my path. And that wasn't linear to what other people normally go or what other people thought was right. And so each time there was a disagreement or something like, oh, this is out of the norm, that just got me more excited and trying it out even more.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess it's a common thing amongst entrepreneurs, but then there's the few that are thriving, like you say, on these challenges and adding, like when you said before we started the conversation here, you said, well, there's quite a chapter happening at the minute, like starting a business, relocating and moving to a different country and stuff. And I just like brushed it off, right? Because this is just not feeling too much for other
Mm.
people. Running a business and having two children is already a lot. And I'm not talking from a place of, oh, I'm better or I'm doing greater things. It's just like I think a personality type. And if you know yourself, this helps
Yeah.
you make your choices,
Yeah.
right? And so you don't overstretch, you don't overdo things, and you don't just because you hear two women talking on a podcast thinking, oh no, this is the way to do it. No, like
No. No,
it's
I wouldn't wish my life on anyone.
exactly the same.
But I think it's yeah, it's interesting because that thriving on challenge is, yeah, it's obviously a part of my personality. And
Mhm.
I do often get asked, or people see things that I'm doing, and I do work on multiple projects at the same time, and they think, oh, she must have ADHD or something like that. And perhaps I do, I'm not sure. But I think that it's just how I operate. I like to have different projects happening because I get bored very quickly.
Are
um,
you a
and
manifesting generator?
pardon?
Are you a manifesting generator in human design?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Okay, so this is part of us.
Yes.
Like manifesting generators need that. They cannot
Yes.
have one project, and so you're just acting according to your design, so it's all good.
Yeah. And I think as a designer, in my early career, you are always working on multiple projects. So you have to sort of learn how to juggle different
Mhm.
clients and all that sort of thing. So, and as a business owner, that's a given as well. So for me, it's a normal part of who I am. And other people look at it and think, oh my God, you're so busy all the time. You're doing this, you're doing that. But that's what makes me thrive.
Yeah,
And
yes, because I'm loving it, you should say.
I just want to experience so many different things and life in general. So yeah.
You said something too that I wanted to go deeper. And it was when you said you realized you needed to become a better person. Define better person.
Yes. I think better person means the person I truly am.
Mhm.
And so I have been on a discovery journey to find out who that is. Because I
Mhm.
think as a mother, or as a person, you go through different phases in life. And obviously, over 5 decades, I've gone through several phases, from going from a schoolgirl to a university student, to then meeting my husband, getting married, all those different things that society expects of us, to becoming a mother,
Mhm.
and all the different changes that you go through. And at the time, you don't really think about it that much. You're just doing it. Whereas I'm a very self-reflective person, and I have done a lot of self-reflection on who I have been over that time. And I recently divorced 4 years ago, and suddenly I needed to learn who I was again. And of course, after you have children as well, you sort of give yourself to so many people, giving yourself to your husband, your children, your job, your family, your parents, and you forget about yourself. And that happened to me, and I had neglected myself. My health was really bad. I'd lost about 10 kilos and I was looking really scrawny, and my hair was dark and dull, and I just wasn't looking after myself. I had really bad teeth. I didn't even smile much. And I was in a really bad place at that time. So I realized I had to do something about it because no one was going to come and save me. No one was actually reaching their hand out to save me. I had to save myself. So that's been quite a journey of discovery. And
what was the biggest tool or way or person that you were leaning on to, even though it was you, but what was, yeah.
yeah, well, it's interesting when you make the decision to work on yourself, the right people appear.
True.
And I truly believe that. And it's quite a miracle when that happens. I decided to start going to some personal development workshops and start to spend some time on myself. And I went away up to Sydney to this workshop. It was a weekend event run by a guy called Jeffrey Slater, who was an American guy who came out here to help people develop their businesses, but develop themselves first to become really good business people. So for me, it was like a business seminar, but I didn't realize how deep it was going to go. But it was good because it was a huge turning point in my life, because I sat next to this guy who was Scottish, and I'm actually from Scottish background. So
Oh, are you?
I believe in coincidences, or there are no coincidences. And he's just started talking to me, and we got along really well, had the same sense of humor, and we decided to go for lunch just to keep talking. And while I was sitting there talking with him, this is a very personal thing that happened to me that I don't really share with many people, but I think I'm ready to share it now.
Yeah, now it's going out to millions.
um, while I was sitting there talking with him, there was this really quick flash that happened in his eyes right at me. Like it was almost like looking into someone else's eyes. Very quick, like it was a split second. And I was in a bit of shock for about a minute. And I said to him, what actually just happened then? And I described it to him. And he said, it's like you just met your higher self. Whatever it was in him,
But
well, my higher self was trying to send me a message. I don't know. So then that night, I was a bit shocked by all that. It was a very strange experience, and one that not many people probably get to experience or understand. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time, like properly, looked into my eyes, and I saw it again. And yeah, it was just so profound. But then that sort of took me on another journey into understanding what that was. What is my higher self? Who is my self, and who is my soul? So he became my coach after that to help me understand what this is, what this is all about. And that was a huge turning point in my life, because he taught me so much about who I am, why I was carrying so much baggage from my past, from my experiences, and how to actually understand how to navigate challenges in life. And so that inspired me to become a coach as well. So he was probably the major support that I had during that time. And if it wasn't for what he taught me, I wouldn't have got through all the challenges I have since then. So yeah, amazing.
You probably would have, but maybe on a different path, or maybe through a different person. I strongly believe in, like you said in the beginning, that when you open up and say and declare it, I'm going to work on myself, the universe puts some people in front of you, right? And also what you experience, I think this is exactly what happens on a daily basis with us. We are always in connection with the people that we need, that our
Yeah.
soul needs to grow to. And it's always the mirrors that get sent to us. But sometimes it's in on a deeper level, like you had just this incredible higher self meeting, which is awesome. And yes, but you were open, like you were ready to see it, right? And some,
I must have been.
yeah, amazing. And I also believe in when I keep hearing those stories that there's always this phase for women who then eventually open up and go on their spiritual path, that it was autopilot, pressed into society, kind of doing the norm thing, getting to a certain stage, you hit rock bottom and you wake up and say, and some do and some don't. And then those who wake up and say, okay, I got to change something and it has to start with me. How do I do that? And then yes, I mean, these self-development courses, books, resources out there are really a game changer. And funny enough, we have another like similar story when it happened to me and when there was my turning point. I booked in a business coaching seminar. I clicked on an ad on YouTube, which I hadn't done in a while. I normally don't do that, but she stood out, and she hit, like, there was one keyword that I was attracted to. I was finding your blind spots, but I was completely thinking something was missing in my business. So I thought the blind spot in my business. She was a business coach, and I clicked on that. And then, yes, there was this thing going on, and it was online, and it was crazy because back then I was already in Asia, and it was in Thailand, so 12 hours difference. And I was doing these seminars over a period of 3 months, always in the middle of the night. I had to get up to be there at midnight until 9 a.m. in the morning. And it sounded so crazy, and yet I needed that. I paid a shitload of money. And what it was not a business course. Like, they did not even talk about strategy at all. It was like pushing me fast forward into, this is what you need to look first, and here, deal with your inner child traumas and shadow work. And I was like, what did I just pay for? And that kicked off my whole my whole path and journey into personal development, and also, yes, reinforced my passion to become a coach, a better person. And I think without that, I wouldn't be the same either. It's like this.
Yeah, it's interesting because, yeah, our stories are very paralleled
Yeah.
and mirrored. And I think, yeah, I'm meeting a lot of people who have had similar experiences. And I think that's why, because you're attracting people, you
Yeah.
start to attract rather than go chasing or looking for something.
Yeah.
I feel like that sort of kickstarted a searching side of me, but now I'm at a place where I'm not searching anymore.
Mhm.
I'm allowing things to happen and
Mhm.
starting to learn how to be a woman, as in work as a woman and navigate my day as a woman with deep intuition.
Mhm.
And I started exploring that probably last year more because I was doing too much and feeling almost burnt out.
Mhm.
um, and just having that conscious awareness of, well, I need to slow down, and I'm getting older as well, so I get more tired easily, because I obviously push myself a lot. So yeah, just coming to that realization that I needed to slow down, and how can I work in a way that suits me, rather
Mm.
than thinking, oh, I have to meet these deadlines, oh, I have to do this and get this done this day, and feeling like I was beating myself up if I didn't get them done.
Mhm.
So that's not healthy for my soul, and learning how to nurture my soul by being more intuitive in how I flow through the day. Still getting things done, but not in
Okay.
a rush or in a stressful way. Um, And that has allowed me to find a lot more peace in myself.
And
So,
don't you also think you by doing it this way, you actually get more things done, and the things that you're focusing on suddenly become so much more powerful, and
yes,
and then there is magic money appearing, there is the right person in the right place at the right time, and it's like boom, it's more like dancing through the day, and not like I used to be. I feel like I was like a warrior, always going through the day like this. And when I think back and remember my old me, and this, yes, to-do lists were my battlefield, and I had to still tick off all these things. And also, like you say, you beat yourself up if you don't get it done, and then, oh, you could have done that, and or stretching the day until 2 a.m. because you haven't completed the task. It's like so crazy when I think about it now.
yep. And even working outside of 9 to 5. So if I
Hmm.
get up, if I don't start work till 10, doesn't matter. I'll
Yeah.
still get it done. But yeah, it's actually quite fun because listening to your intuition and following that flow is really fun because it's sort of like a choose your own adventure book
Hmm. Yes.
where and you just follow the signs. Like I get a little voice in my head that says, oh, you need to work on this next.
Hmm.
Or I'll get something that pops up on my computer and I'll go, oh, okay, I need to work on that later.
Hmm.
Even though I do have to-do lists. And that's guiding. I see that as my guide. My soul is my guide, my intuition,
Yeah.
guiding me to what I need to be working on. So
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that, because I don't think I've shared this on this podcast yet. So maybe it's a good moment, because that you are right when you ask me. I mean, moving countries, starting a new business, and things is actually not the most perfect timing. And so it happened last year at the end of the year. Actually, way longer, but for me, then I became aware of the fact that I'm not sitting right on what I'm doing. I'm offering services like very masculine in um, funnel strategy, offer creation, digital marketing. I can help my clients really get things done. I see, like, I have a good vision when it comes to other people's businesses, and clean it up, give them clarity. And while this is something, a skill that I'm good at, right? Maybe just like your graphic design skills, but I kept hearing something is missing. There's more, and I was like, yeah, but what and how?
that's
And
so big.
so I was always in this between doing things for money, um, and then doing things in my private time that lit me up in my passion projects, and then diving into in this whole other world of feminine energy, retreats, like personal development, this, oh my gosh, Akashic record reading, human design, all the things that kind of felt like it's a different thing. When I
Yeah.
suddenly feel like, fuse them, put them
Yes.
together, bring this out in a holistic way. And this is not you here and here. It's both is you, right? And
Yes.
so slowly but surely last year I gave myself permission to create something from this place of whole me, like from this intuitive place that doesn't make a logical sense, like that never really made sense in the past, but now I'm ready to just let this through. And the podcast was this one thing that, and as a manifesting generator, I I have this big vision about sovereign mamas. Like this is becoming a big thing, and I see all the elements already. Like I
Mhm.
know this needs to be like the book, the summit, the membership, the mastermind, the retreats that I'm going to host all over the world. This is already here.
Yeah.
But the one thing I got immediate yeses to was the podcast. And I said,
Mhm.
yeah, the podcast I will launch in August. And I kept hearing like, no, now, no, now, no, now. And then I was like, yeah, but I'm in the middle of preparing things for my move. I'm like, a podcast felt so out of place. And trust me, I had resistance at first until I realized 30 people on my calendar do not mean I have to push this further into the future. This is a now thing, Julia. Let everything else wait. And it was
Yes.
scary because the podcast obviously is also something that doesn't bring you any money immediately, right? So I was like, but I need some extra money to make this move happen, to, get my children in this more expensive school and etc. pp. And I was like, keep hearing the podcast, the podcast, the podcast. So I did a huge like leap of faith. And honestly, the conversations that I've been having
Yeah.
are so perfect. And they're not only perfect for my audience. And I know this because always when you do things, this is part of my healing journey. Like I had people on the podcast who match exactly like what I'm contemplating, reflecting on, what I'm dealing with. And it's like mind blowing. And then not. And then I'm not surprised. And that's, of course, this is happening.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many women are doing this beautiful work because we know it's time. It's
Mm.
long overdue, and I'm the same. I I kept uh, trying to figure out how to put myself out there and
Mhm.
put myself in front of my audience. And I had this fear of being on the screen.
Yeah.
And for ages, I had to work through my fears and my self-confidence and how I speak. And so I did speaking course and all that sort of thing. But until you actually put it into practice, it's not going to, it's just going to
No.
be, in the background, all the learnings. So I had the same thing. I sat down at the end of 2023 and I thought, oh, how can I actually get myself in front of people? I know, I'll start a podcast. And it has been the best thing for my confidence because I've had to learn how to speak in front of the camera and be confident and just to let myself channel and trust myself as well in the questions I'm asking and what I'm saying and how I'm actually coaching people on my podcast as I'm
Mhm.
interviewing them and showing people how I actually coach. So
Yeah.
it's been such a game changer and so amazing to meet so many different people who are making a difference for children,
Mm.
what my podcast is about.
What's the
Um,
name of your podcast?
it's creating connections.
Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I've got three
mm.
different series on there. One is leaders in education. So I,
Mhm.
s- I started that one to get in front of school leaders.
Mm.
And then the next one is Circle of Support for Parents. And I've just started a new series, which is mostly just going to be me talking about self-healing journey. And it's
Mm.
called Self-Connection and Mastery. So, and I think the best part about a podcast is that you have total creative control
Yes.
and you can turn it into whatever you want to. And so that gives you such freedom and liberation to be able to
Mhm.
be yourself and also to create for others and to help other people.
Absolutely. And that just gave me an idea because I do haven't even thought about creating series on the podcast, but it does make so much sense. If you have an umbrella term like sovereign mamas in this case, I also see foundational pillars. I think I explained that to you before, that there is motherhood, well-being, mindset, and business, that if that these areas are well played and you feel like you filling these cups, then you can lead from a sovereign place. So that could be 4 series. There you go. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's the thing that like that whole collaboration of
Hmm.
ideas and sharing different
Hmm.
stories is it's such a wonderful space to be in because yeah, you get to meet people and bounce ideas off each other and uh,
Hmm.
I'm
So
sure
cool.
meeting women in business as well.
Yes, it's so cool. And so are you then also like, is this then two things, or is the learning niche something that you are leading with this intuitive approach? Like when you say coaching, that is focused on the children, and I mean not the children, the schools and the parents, right? Or is there something that you're doing inside?
Well, my coaching, my coaching is self-mastery coaching. So
Mm.
at the moment, it's really for anyone who would like to go on that self-mastery journey
Mm-hmm.
and healing journey. I'm just starting to get back into my coaching because I've been creating some online courses. So everything sort of ties into, ironically, I've become a teacher, I guess, an online teacher. I've actually got an online learning portal, which is Practically Learning Academy. And
Okay.
I'm hoping to create courses on there that are for self-development as well to
Mm-hmm.
tie in with my coaching. Same as you, I have a passion for coaching, but I also have this passion for creating connections, which has basically become my brand, I guess, is creating connections because I have a book that I've written for parents called
Cool.
Creating Connections as well. um, and so anything to do with creating connections it's fairly broad. So I have that creative freedom to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
to move into different spaces. But the coaching is part of my online courses as well. So I do group coaching as part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The course I have on there at the moment is for teachers, and it's to help them build trusted relationships with parents so that they can work
Nice.
together to support children. And I offer coaching for teachers as well to help them with to prevent burnout, and all the challenge to be able to cope with all the challenges that they have as teachers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I truly believe that if you work on yourself, as we have, you are able to cope with a lot of different things that come your way. And when you're more self-aware and have self-control or sovereignty, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you are able to manage when things just be the calm in the chaos, basically.
Mm.
So I offer coaching for teachers as well.
And I think that's so important. I always thought and had this um, judgmental thought in my head that how is it possible that these people who have been in school all their life become the teachers of our children? Like, because you go through school and university and then you start your teaching job. You did not see anything. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really exaggerating, and I know there are a lot of great teachers out there that do their thing and have life
Yeah.
experience, but it is like if you go and follow that path, school, university, and then you start your teaching career, how on earth are you capable and meant to lead a group of children and tell them about life and show them, like, this was always something in my head that I thought teachers need an extra level of support or an opportunity to go out there and experience real life, because school is just like they're staying in this.
It is quite a bubble, and
Hmm.
there's I'm having some guests upcoming on my podcast who are going to be talking about a new way to educate, which I'm very excited about. And I think that's probably what's fascinated me about education is that I don't think it suits all children, obviously, because we're seeing so many kids being homeschooled now. And things need to change because the way that we educate children, it's not a one size fits all approach because we know we're
Hmm.
all different. I myself, I didn't really fit in at school. I was very creative, so I was, leaning towards the humanities and arts subjects.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's a space. Education is a space that has a culture, and I guess that comes from teachers coming from school, straight from school into teaching.
Hmm.
It's formed over time not a very nice culture of a lack of relationships. And that's why I guess I'm in that sort of space of how do we build relationships in schools? Because these are little people that we're educating, or young people, and we need to build relationships with them, but also teachers need to build relationships with each other and with parents. So
Yeah. So great.
it's a very relational profession, but there's not a lot of emphasis on the relationship. So that has to change, and I think it is starting to change, and they're starting to realise that. However, they're up against the government and the system that insists on testing kids and assessing them and all these sorts of things, but not necessarily supporting them after they've been assessed. So that's a paradox that needs to change as well. So I'm very passionate about it, as you can probably tell.
Yes, amazing.
Because like I work with some young children as well who are on the spectrum and who are neurodiverse, and they are the most amazing people. But the school system just does not suit them at all, the environment. But they're so highly intelligent, and we need to really work with those kids and capture their talents and really nurture them. So I think things will have to change. I don't think there'll be any choice, because children are making the changes for us. They're showing us that the school system
Yes.
doesn't work for us anymore.
Yes, 100%. That's like my little son was the reason why we made this location change. Because I kept seeing how the school or the preschool that he was in was crushing his self-confidence for learning differently. And I kept feeling like, how is this possible that in these early stages where they're sponges, where they're curious, where they're happy learners still, right? And excited about everything. You show them a pebble stone and they're like, "Whee!" and I kept seeing and observing how he lost his
Spark.
yes. And I said, okay, there's got to be something else. Like there has to be people who understand how you can actually keep children engaged and let them learn in the way they are wired, right? And there's no right or wrong. And if you take longer or do it differently, you get cheered on. And so
Yeah.
yes, so I do love what you said, that children are creating this change, but we need adults who
Yes.
act upon it and let this then also become the reality and
Yes.
and let their voices come through. So I think you're doing an incredible, important job with your mission, and I'm really, really happy that you came on this show. And I hope a lot of people will hear this and get inspired and go out and get in touch with you. Um, is there any last nugget of wisdom you would like to share before we wrap up?
Well, I just want to say to all the sovereign mamas out there that you are doing an amazing job. Being a mum is one of the greatest gifts you can ever have. And yes, it comes with challenges, but it also comes with amazing joys and amazing experiences. And I think if you're open to learning from your children, and you're open to learning more about yourself and really working on who you are as a person, and just being true to yourself, I think that you'll find parenting a lot less challenging. And if you try and go with the flow a little bit more, and navigate your life around your children's needs, but also your needs as well, and don't forget about yourself, then yeah, the parenting journey will be so much more rewarding. And yeah, just keep doing your great work as you are with mums and with women, because I think us as women, we need to step up. We need to overcome our fears and any self-doubts that we have, so that we can be the leaders that our society needs, because as we're seeing around the world, there's so much chaos that's happening, and our children need us mostly. We always need to realize that children come first, and we really need to focus on them and make sure their needs are met. But in doing that, yeah, obviously we need to work on ourselves first. So, but thank you
Yes.
for having me on today.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And beautifully said, this was a wonderful last message. And yes, I had so much fun. So interesting. And again, mind-blowing how synchronicity plays out. And, I
Yes.
always go in with an open heart to these conversations. And I do a little bit of a background search and check what people are doing. But then the I get surprised all the time, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. I couldn't have imagined we talk about all these things. So thank you.
Yes. That's
Thank you
been
for
wonderful.
sharing. And thank you for listening, everyone. And until next time.